This is a meeting of the Douglas Cemetery Commission. I am Betsy Youngsma, the chairman, and Sarah, the secretary, Lee, the treasurer, and Brian, our new volunteer, hopefully.
Wonderful.
This is a call to order. We have a quorum. We need a treasurer's report.
Okay, we currently have $4,931.31. We just recently turned the water back on at the Common Cemetery,
Oh, good.
Okay,
so they can water their flowers again.
if they
Not
need
that
to,
we need
at the
to.
rate we're
Right.
going.
I know.
I know.
Right.
I see we've sold a couple of plots.
I sold one,
Yeah.
yep,
All right.
a single, plot number 395 to a lady. I get a lot of calls about those questions, that kind of thing. You know,
You'll have to show me or Sarah the ropes on how to sell a plot.
sell a plot.
Yeah, just in case we, need
Yeah.
to
Yeah, do
It's
you
a-
all have access to one of the maps? There's a map of all the plots.
I'd seen it before. I think there's a copy here, maybe on
I think
our
there's a
top of our
copy here.
cabinet.
be. There's also, it's also online somewhere,
The plots?
not, where everybody is, the names of the deceased. I was digging around and I found it somewhere. It's, some website.
Find a grave.
Find a grave, thank you. That's it. Yep. So if
they
you
have
look at.
the name of every person in the ground in Douglas.
Well, they're probably missing some, but they
Right.
have the
Find a
vast
Grave is
majority.
pretty much put up by people that take the
Volunteer,
photos. It's
yep.
volunteer, so it's
Right.
not
It's
100%
not like
accurate
100%.
all the time. They'll either miss some, or sometimes people be in the wrong place, or
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I was asking Lee before you came in.
it's a good
was,
resource, but it's
Does Douglas have a
it's
record of everybody in the
voluntarily
ground?
done. I would go more by our marker surveys.
Right.
And I don't know, probably not everybody has a marker, so there might be unmarks, or especially with the smaller, Pine Grove, there's a lot of unmarks.
Right, but whether Douglas has records that you could actually find out who's in what plot.
We don't have any
Yeah.
old records that have
Not a
been
lot,
lost.
right?
Wow, what happens to them?
Right.
What happens to a lot of things, they move, they get lost, somebody takes them home and keeps them there and then never
Right.
returns them. I don't know.
We have done marker surveys of, I think, every
Cemetery.
I know Pine Grove, I was working on with Sue Perkins. That's pretty much done, but it's not in an official format. It's still handwritten in a book.
Like how many plots are actually there?
Right. It would be
many?
every marker we found, every headstone. Pine Grove is known to have been the, pretty much Pauper's Field, where people that couldn't afford burial were buried.
Right, there's no
So there's a
headstone.
lot of unmarks, and you can pretty much, I actually have it's like a original map where the plots were. So, it's fuller than it looks. If you go out there, it looks like it's all empty in the front, but it's not, because Adam Furno had a
thing.
plot copy from way back when, and it's full. So, even though not everyone is marked. And that's a smaller
A
cemetery.
lot of stones are broken, they fall over, then it grows over.
Right.
So you wouldn't be able to find, nobody's allowed to dig up in there anyway. You can't bury anybody in Pine Grove, only Douglas Center.
Yep.
And the other cemetery on West Street is private.
Yep, Evergreen is private, so
So-
not one of ours. But we do have South Street too, and
Oh,
I don't know, I was wondering whatever happened with the one that was going into tax title. Did that ever fall
Haven't
under
heard
our
anything.
jurisdiction?
I don't know
Okay.
whether the town has to take it.
Yeah, I
Because
wasn't
he
sure.
hadn't paid the taxes.
Right.
So, I don't think the town does that in a big hurry.
Yeah, right.
You're right, I
ki-
hear
it's
about
kind
this
of a-
like every year. and-
Yeah.
Is that the one
right.
that was near the water?
Kind of a
Near-
slow process.
Nope, it's on the back road to Whittier Farms on the right-hand
That
side.
was Stockwell King? Is that-
Yeah, and I don't even, it's probably about at the size of this room, maybe a little
Right,
bigger.
it's a small
That's all it
family
is.
cemetery with like 2 families, and I don't think there's many monuments left, maybe 2 or so, but it would be interesting to have a cleanup there and see if we can find any buried.
Somebody cleaned it
or-
up.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and put flags up and
Oh,
mowed it
yeah.
and cleaned
Oh,
it all
nice.
up.
Oh, good.
I don't know whether the guy on the left-hand side does it, or the guy on the right-hand
okay.
side does it.
That's good that someone's
Well, the
taking
Boy
care of
Scouts did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was that one Boy Scout that went around.
Cleaning up some of the
Yeah.
cemeteries,
few
so
of the
he might do it.
cemeteries.
Yeah.
But I
that's
think
good.
the people that live on the left also do some, because they own everything around it,
Right.
except for that one plot. But yeah, you're right, there's not that many.
Right.
But there, on Find a Grave, there's the list of the people that are buried.
Yeah, so even though they're not marked, they're still on there. Yep. All right, let's see what's,
What else you got on
what's
on your
next?
list? The treasury
so,
report we got.
Secretary's report, but I don't actually have one. I didn't have any correspondence, haven't gotten any letters or emails, so nothing under that. And then new business next would be scheduling and organizing volunteer cleanup events, student community service, and/or resident volunteers. So I just wanted to see if we could, where the weather is starting to turn good, if we could plan a couple of dates, to just host cleanups.
Yep.
What do you hope to accomplish by the cleanup?
Well, I figured cleaning headstones, like
So you
sort of
just wanna do
similar to what we
headstones.
did. And we probably also need to do some maintenance cleanup as far as fallen tree branches and
Yeah,
that kind of thing
that's
as well.
in
I
the-
know Pine Grove is needing a cleanup as far as that goes, because that pine tree over winter dropped a couple of large branches. A resident did go out and chop it up, so it's been cut up, but it needs to be removed. So thank you to the resident that did that. I don't know who it was, but it was one of the neighbors of the cemetery.
Okay, yeah.
So we should contact the highway department to see if they will.
If they
pick
can grab
up.
that
And
cut up
there's
branch.
also, in the center cemetery, there's a certain place that, I don't know who picks up the branches. I've done some, but,
My husband picks up some too.
okay. There's one giant tree in the very center of
Yeah,
the cemetery, and they've been piling the branches underneath that, so it's, it's just a one-stop that the highway
it's
can come in
actually
and.
healthier for the tree to leave the branches because some of that wood puts the nutrients back into the ground for the tree to use. So the piling underneath, I think, is a good idea. I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna fall over them.
No, it's in an older section.
It's in the older part. I
Yeah.
think I know exactly which one it is.
Yeah, it's that big giant tree that's in the middle. And, last year I had the highway department just go in there and check every once in a while and remove it, so,
Yeah.
the pile, so.
Look at the town cleanup day coming.
Yeah, that's what I was
You
gonna
know,
mention.
coordinate.
Yep.
The town cleanup day is coming. Should we,
I think that's April 20th,
It
which
is.
is like a Saturday.
Yeah.
I
Yes, sir.
wouldn't be able to do anything that day because I know I'll be working, but
Okay.
I know a lot of, groups around town are planning their cleanup for that day, so.
and do they actually instruct them to go into the cemetery or not?
I don't believe I saw the cemeteries on there. I did see a list that was circulating where you could sign up to do litter pickup in certain areas of town. I know the Common is organizing something. I think it's for the younger kids to go do things. But I did see a list where the high schoolers or, just residents of the town could sign up for different areas to clean up, but it was mostly streets. They were having you go street by street picking up litter.
Right,
And
okay.
Yeah,
then
it's
that
mostly
day,
that,
the
that-
highway department will be open with trash bags and vests and stuff for people that want to go around and pick up trash on the roadways. But, and then they can drop the trash back at the highway department that day. So there's that's organized, but there isn't anything organized for cemetery, unless we wanted to to organize them.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of trash. Do you find a lot of trash in yours?
I mean, a little bit, like stuff might blow
But not
in
a lot.
from like the road, but not a lot. Yeah. I mean,
I put a,
there is probably like a little bit of encroachment too, where people throw their brush to the lot lines in the back there, you know. So, yeah.
I put a barrel in the center cemetery.
for tree trimmings and bush stuff.
For trash or?
For trash.
Yeah.
Trash.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, with the windy days we've had, I lost the cover.
Oh no! Oh.
But I go in like once every 2 weeks and take the bag out and bring it to the recycle center. So
Do you get a lot of trash in it?
yeah, I mean it's mostly old flowers or plants or stuff
That's
Stuff
good.
like that.
Yeah.
That's good to
instead
have.
of just having them throw them
Right.
in the woods.
Or just leave them there.
Yeah.
And then there's McDonald's containers and stuff.
Right,
you know?
right. It's good
But-
to have though, because it does, I think, help if
Yeah.
there's a place for someone to throw something away, because you know they would tend to use the trash can.
If they see it. yeah.
Right. Yep.
And I put
it
a
is
giant
pet peeve
rock
of
in the.
mine for the dead plants. You know, when you go out in June and someone has a wreath still, it's like, oh my goodness. But
Or a Christmas tree still
right,
there.
yeah, I've seen that a couple times, and I'm just like, you know. So that is, I'm glad the trash can is there, because that might encourage people
Yeah,
to
I
throw
just-
away their dead
Yeah, the
flowers and
fading
Right,
glory.
right, right.
What about the American flags, the little ones that the Boy Scouts put up? Do you
They
want-
are responsible to pick those back up again
Oh, they are?
over the winter.
Yep.
Okay, because I was gonna start picking them up if you wanted, but I don't know if they're gonna do that.
They're supposed to.
Okay.
I know a lot of the times when they do the Memorial Day flagging, because I've done that with them before, that they actually look for the old flags the day they're putting the new flags. So they take out the old flag and put a new one.
Oh, okay.
And it's pretty much like
If it has a holder.
how they do it. No, not necessarily. Like they'll look for the ones that already have the old flags, like at the graveside, and then they pull the old one and put a new one, and then they bundle the old ones. They take those back to, I'm not sure, whoever takes care of their
The fire station burns
retirement.
them.
Yeah, so, yep, so they bundle the old ones and put the new ones on the same day usually. Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is they get broken if they
Yeah,
fly
right,
away.
right. So there is
You
some,
know.
you know, occasional pickup of those, especially if it's windy. Yeah.
Can we, you have the name of that company with the solution to clean the headstones?
Yes, yep, Atlas Preservation.
Can we,
Yep. And we do have an account with them now for the town.
Can we order
Sure.
one more?
Yeah, if you guys want to vote to place an order, I will
Yes, absolutely.
coordinate that.
Does-
How much do you want to order and,
Well, how much does,
So
how
forth.
much
um,
do you remember how much
I-
it takes to do
we did,
100 stones?
when we did the cleanup, I believe we had 4 gallons of D2, or maybe 5, and we used all but 1 gallon, so we had 1 gallon left. And I want to say we did roughly like 150, 175 or so. Yeah. I mean, personally, if we do a cleanup again, I'd like to do smaller groups rather than larger groups, like, unless there's more than one person helping out. As far as like, when we did the last volunteer event, you know, we had like, I think 12, like,
That was
you know,
large.
it felt like a large group. Like personally, I'd be more comfortable with like a smaller amount of people, so that way, you know, it's not so overwhelming, and you can help individual people if they have questions on, you know, which ones are fragile or whatnot. So, and I still have the flags that we use, the red, green, yellow flags for deciding what to clean, what not to clean. And all the brushes and stuff. I think I would like to get other brushes perhaps, because I didn't really like the ones I got on Amazon. They were kind of stiff, and I wasn't a big fan of them. They weren't what I usually would use. So, but yeah, so
Get what
and
we need.
we still have the
So,
sprayers. Let me see if I can find actually the invoice for the last time we ordered the D2. because I think I did get.
Where do you want to do them, Lee?
Huh?
Where do you want to do them?
The headstones?
In Douglas Center or
Well,
Pine?
the center we were working on, so we should continue that and
Yeah.
then move from there. I would assume. And if we could get all the ones on the outside, what people that drive by see them, see that we're cleaning them up, because on the Douglas Facebook page, a while back, there was
So
somebody
last.
saying we're not doing enough of cleaning and
Right.
fixing the stones.
I would like to do like maybe one event at each cemetery, even like, one at Douglas Center, one at Pine Grove, and one at South Street, just to kind of, so people don't think we're neglecting, like, I know there was a complaint about South Street and things being down, and
Yeah.
so if we could do maybe one day at each cemetery
Sure.
and just do a little bit, I know there's no water at South Street and there's no water at Pine Grove, but if people could like bring a gallon of water with them when they come, or
Yeah.
so I did find the invoice for last time we ordered the solution, and this is just the solution, not including any brushes. We ordered 4 gallons, and the total was $196.17. So, and that 4 gallons, like I said, we still have about a gallon left.
Okay.
And that did 175.
With the 3 gallons, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I know.
And the sprayers and spray bottles and
You still
all that stuff
we still have.
yeah. I actually need to get like a bin or something, because when the day that we did the cleanup, I brought everything in the original shipping boxes that it came in, and it poured rain on us,
Right,
and
right.
every cardboard box I
Got
had, I
wet.
had to throw away. So I need like to get maybe a Rubbermaid container that we can keep it all in, and then I can probably, I don't know if I can bring it back here and stash it in town hall, or I'd prefer
Ask
to do
Adam.
that,
Maybe
but
you keep it up there somewhere.
right, because right now it's sitting on my porch, which is fine, but it would be better to be somewhere else.
Could the container be put at the one of the cemeteries?
If we had a place to store it,
There's no, I can't think of a storage,
yeah,
little
Unless we
storage
put it
shed
in
at any
the-
of the cemeteries.
right.
No.
Unless we put it in the crypt, but I wouldn't want to have to go up and down the crypt
No.
stairs with a box of stuff. So,
No.
because it's a lot, it's like a big, I mean, I would probably need like a big Rubbermaid
You would.
tub with a cover, to put it in.
Yeah, it used to be a shed,
So,
and it just fell
my
down.
new favorite show on TV is called World's Greatest Cemeteries. Have you
Oh
seen it?
yeah, no, I haven't. I don't watch a lot of TV.
All right, but I mean, it's a PBS show.
Yeah.
So this great guy goes around, think of a famous cemetery, and he's been there or is going to go there, and they're super interesting. And so on this one show, he had I think it was like Woodlawn, Brooklyn, or something.
Oh, nice.
And he brings in the crew to clean the stones. He's like, "But this is a grant, and these guys are learning how to do this as a business."
Right.
It's not just cleaning cemetery stones. There's lots of stone surfaces that need to be cleaned, every so
Right.
often. We have Blackstone Valley Tech. I'm just saying, there'll be a connection there.
Right. And we
You
also
don't
have
to organize
Douglas,
a volunteer
Douglas
thing
High
every
School
year.
students also
They could do it
need
once a year.
community
or-
service.
Yeah.
They all need hours for each year of high school. Seniors, I think, are required 9 hours, I want to say. And I know a lot of the seniors still need hours, like my son included. I'm going to actually send him out, and Historic Commission just asked if someone could clean the Vietnam Memorial, which is like right outside of Town Hall here.
Yeah.
And so I told them I'll have him do it because he needs the service hours and it needs to be cleaned. So
They
So,
clean
yeah.
it with the same solution?
same solution, yeah. D2 is like a pretty good, it's a biological solution, so it'll kill off mold growth, it'll kill off like lichens, but it won't hurt the stone. It's pH neutral, so you don't have to worry about it eroding the stone.
Yeah, I'm not worried about this.
Yeah, so, yep.
The acid rain eats them alive
Yeah,
anyway,
right,
so I'm not too
Probably
worried
more
about the
acid
stones.
in that than there is in the cleaner. But D2 is like pretty much the same stuff that they use in the national cemeteries, like to get the stones to stay white like that. So, and it's the way that it works is it works more over time. So like the day that you do it, it might not look like super clean, and you'll be like, oh, it's kind of still grungy looking. But if you come back a month later, it'll be like white.
White.
Yeah. And I
It's
did a couple
amazing.
in St. Denis, and
Same.
that was a couple of years ago, and they're still pretty white. And you
Where?
don't have to do it that often. St. Denis Cemetery. It's not one of ours, but they also had a group that was doing cleanup. Yeah, so I mean, it does work more over time, and the stones will lighten up as time goes on. I think even the sun helps. I notice a lot of the times if they're in the shade, it's not as effective. You know, when you clean them, it takes a little longer for them to brighten up. But the ones in the sun, it really,
Or get a slate stone, then you don't have to worry about it.
right, those are pretty,
Yep, the
Yeah.
slate stones don't disappear.
right.
They don't
They
erode.
get a little licheney sometimes, but
Lichens are nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if we want to pick dates. I'm in my busy season with my job, unfortunately. So really, the only days I have off right now are Sundays. And I don't know if we could organize a cleanup on Sunday, but I'm more than willing to host one if that would be doable to anybody. I don't know how anyone else
I can
feels about that,
I
but.
can do Sunday.
Okay. I don't know if we want to get out a calendar, and I'll check and see, like, I have a group that I made on Facebook for any resident that wants to volunteer for the cemeteries.
Yep,
So if we pick a date, I'll post those dates there,
yep.
and we can see, like, you know, if people want to attend. I just want an idea of how many people are going to come per time, because I don't want to feel like there's too many people and feel, you know, overwhelmed. I want there to be enough people that, you know, can show them how to do it, and, you know, yeah. So, I don't know if you guys want to pick dates.
Can you do Sunday? Right.
You mean any given Sunday? Not a movie? Yeah, it depends on the Sunday, really.
Right,
Yeah, it does.
okay. Because, and I think the kids
Generally,
have
yeah.
to have their, let me find out about community service hours, because I was thinking, I know a lot of the high schoolers still need them. So I'm gonna look for their service hours.
Don't they post something up there of what's available in the
They
town?
do, so we could reach out to them and have them post to our events as well. Because I know, like, let me see what the date they gave is. Community service hours. Okay, so community service hours must be completed prior to 5/17/24. So they have to have their service hours
Done
done
by me.
by May 17th in order to graduate. So I know a lot of the kids still need hours, and it would be good if we could get a couple of the future stewards of the cemetery,
Yeah,
you
right.
know. So,
Yep.
and we can also post to the volunteer group. We could even have cable put it on their page if we wanted to do that, on their little, I don't know, ticker tape or whatever you want to call it, their little their bulletin board on the cable channel where they advertise different stuff. We could do that too if you wanted.
Yep.
So I'll pull up my calendar and we can try to pick a couple of days.
Okay.
So like this month we have, I know I can't do the 14th, that's too soon. We have the 21st, the 28th, 5th of May. The 12th is Mother's Day, so probably not
No.
that day.
The 5th?
The
That'd be
5th?
good.
Okay, let's schedule.
WCC plant pickup on the 4th.
Oh, all right. We could
So-
do May the 5th.
I'll be
Sure.
around.
Which cemetery would you like to do? Do you want to do Douglas Center again, or for May the 5th?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll put in Center Cemetery cleanup.
So what kind of brushes do you think would be better?
You know, I ordered them on Amazon, which it was hard to tell, like, the hardness of them, and the ones that I got, I thought they were too stiff. I didn't feel like they were what I would want to
So
use, because
what-
it's supposed to be a natural.
Like big sheet.
Yeah, it's almost like a,
Floor
like,
cleaner
yeah,
brushes that
it's
you
like
would use.
kind of a bigger brush.
But Bob
They say
Cleaner brush
natural-
would be too.
Natural bristle is the best. And these were supposed to be natural bristle, but they really don't feel like it. They're almost like a cheap
Plastic.
knockoff. Yeah, you know, they weren't what I expected them to be. So, but I think Atlas does have natural bristle brushes. The place that we ordered the D2 from.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if maybe ordering through them would be you'd get a better quality product, maybe.
Well,
If
it'd
we
be
wanted to
Yeah,
do
The
that.
brush that you're supposed to use with the
Right, they
solution.
probably have the ones that we're supposed to.
Right, yeah, because the Amazon ones were supposed to be natural bristle, and I wasn't a huge fan of them. I just don't think they were like a very good quality.
No, you have to have the proper tools.
Right.
What what time do you want to meet?
Do you want to plan for, I mean, usually we could go for a few, I think last time we did a few hours. I want to say last time we did like a 10 to 4 maybe, so if you, but I honestly, I think that's a little long because people get tired, and
Yeah,
so maybe we could do.
Depends on how hot it is too.
Exactly, because if
there's not a
it's
lot of
May,
shade,
like
yeah.
last time it was August and it was rainy in the morning and cold, and then all of a sudden it was hot because we're in New England and the weather is crazy. So,
that was the day it was a tornado.
yeah, there was a tornado
Yeah.
warning in the morning. It was, yeah, it was a little crazy. So, I don't know, maybe we want to start like 11 a.m. Would that be good?
Yeah, 11 to 2 or something
Yeah,
like that.
11 to 2
Yeah.
sounds good, because I think the longer the day goes on, you know, your arms get tired and,
Well, yeah, Sundays also, families like to be together and do stuff
Right.
on their own.
yeah, so 11 to 2 sounds good.
And then I could, when I'm not busy, I could, go do
Yeah.
every now and again, do a couple of on my own,
Right, yeah,
as long as I have access to this.
right, yeah, which is why I want to get it back here somewhere.
Yeah,
If we had a place we could stash it, but like I said, it'll probably be like a decent sized bin that we'd need, which I can probably pick up at Walmart next time I'm there. So, yeah. And I also have 2 benches that I got off the free group, so like if anyone wants to go, like, cause it's kind of hard on you if you're crouching down or you're kneeling down.
yeah.
And I got like a couple of gardening benches off of there, so you can sit or you can kneel on that, and it's a little less taxing on the old knees. So, yeah, but those I do have to if anyone wants to borrow those. Yeah, so I don't know if we want to have any other dates or if we just want to stick with the May date for now. And I can place an order if we want to vote on placing an order for, do you want me to get another 4 gallons, another case? Or,
I would say yes.
okay,
Yep, go ahead.
okay.
See how far that goes, and
I guess
if we need more, we'll get them.
All right, we could consider that a vote then?
Yeah, I would consider
Okay,
that a vote.
Okay, all right, so I'll order that then. Do you also want me to order a few brushes from Atlas?
I do.
Okay. Maybe 6 or so to get us started?
Started, yeah.
Okay.
Whatever you want. Yeah.
All right, 6 brushes and a case of 4 gallons of D2.
And you said we have enough bottles and spray bottles? and
I
all
think
that?
we do, yeah, we still have those,
Okay.
and most of those, I'll check them all just to make sure they're still operational, because, I know as you use them, some of them break, but
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they were all still good after the event, and I took everything home to rinse it out, because it was like a lot of dirt from the people scrubbing, and the boxes were all mush, so I still have the buckets, like little pails that people can rinse their brush in. Yeah, so just the D2 and a couple more brushes would be good. The harder brushes I think would be okay for doing the granite ones, but I didn't care for them on the marble ones. The ones that we get on Amazon, they were a little too stiff for my money. Hard to tell when you buy things online, unfortunately.
right. Okay.
All right, anything else, guys? Let's take a look here. And I'll post to my volunteer group that I made.
Yeah, she wrote this out to me.
Oh, personal. Oh dear. You may have to write one to the town. Whoops.
Well, I'll take it over to them and see what they say.
Yeah, right? Oh, boy. All right, so we got that planned, and let's see. Because it'd be great to have a cleanup prior to Memorial Day, which we will, so
Right.
that's perfect.
What are they planning for Memorial Day?
I don't know, honestly, because I know they didn't do the parade the last few years because there wasn't enough veterans that
Yeah.
were still organizing it. And I had heard that there was going to be a committee that was going to try to get the parade going again, but I haven't heard anything if that's
Me
happened
either.
or not. So
No.
yeah, I loved the parade. I really did look forward to that, and the ceremonies
Yeah,
in
didn't
each
the,
of
like
the
the veterans
cemeteries.
didn't want to do it or something?
I guess they're dwindling in numbers as far as their group, so they didn't have enough people that were, I guess a couple of the gentlemen had passed away, and it was the people coordinating it now. They're getting older, and there's not as many veterans involved.
I
So
thought there was a connection, like with the school and the school band and.
they did
stuff.
have the school band usually, and I
It's
think
like,
the band numbers have also dwindled. So
Our
there's
kid
been
was in high school, like the hottest Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Like several kids
Oh,
passed out
yeah,
with those
wow.
uniforms on.
right, and they would go to each of the squares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did have a
I don't
question.
think they do that anymore, do they?
Is, they didn't. I think they did last year, but it wasn't like part of the parade, and it wasn't a big advertised thing
Right.
where they knew they were gonna go do it, and it wasn't filmed like it had been in years past. And there was just one band member that went around to each of the cemeteries and played taps
Wow.
Oh,
last
okay,
year,
yep.
which I thought was really
Oh, okay.
nice.
Always
You know,
good. That's
it was a
something.
really nice effort, but it was just one person. So, and I did appreciate that they did that because that was a nice thing to do. So yeah, but do you also want me to have them advertise our cleanup on cable? Because I can
Sure.
ask that we put a slide up for that. So we'll organize that, and I'll get the stuff ordered so we have it in time. Was there anything else? Let me just pull up our agenda again just to be sure. Do we have anything as far as old business? Do we have any updates or?
I'm having a very hard time finding somebody to repair headstones.
Mm.
And before we can request the money from town meeting,
Mhm.
which the money's there, but you
Has
have
to
to
go
have
through
proof
town
of what
meeting.
you're gonna be using it for. And I have to have an estimate of how much it's gonna cost for how many stones to be repaired. or
Well, how many are you looking at?
I have no idea how many
Right.
how many cemeteries do we have with stones that are cracked or
We
tipped over?
definitely have some in each.
Yeah,
I'd say we have a dozen in each at least.
yeah,
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
at least.
If not more.
So,
If not, a lot more.
Right.
Yeah.
and that's something people in the town want
Right.
done, so.
Right.
They want all these restored?
Yeah.
You think they'll all vote for that?
I think so,
It's hard to say. Town meeting is,
yeah.
it's hard to gauge. There are
Tax
also-
dollars are funny.
Right, exactly. There
Depends
are
on who
also,
shows up at that meeting.
there are also volunteer groups that do that kind of restoration. Like I know there's Betty and Carlo out of, I think Harrisville. They're an older couple. They do like restorations.
They restore the stones?
fixing the broken ones. Right.
Well, how
And-
do they do it?
Do
Do they cement it?
No, they have a special kind of epoxy. It's a particular type of epoxy that you can use, and they actually do like presentations, and they host volunteer events, and they do presentations where they'll like basically kind of show you how it's done. I had reached out to them at one point, and I want to say to book an event with them was around $1,000, and that was
Maybe
maybe
the town would go for
that was
that.
maybe a couple of years ago that I had, reached out to them. At the time, I don't think we had it in our budget, and we just kind of, it didn't happen.
You can always
And
ask.
I also think that they were booked out a ways at the time, so I could reach back out to them if you'd be interested and see if
Yeah,
they would be
please.
able to book with us.
Because I've contacted a couple of companies, and one was out of Connecticut, and they're booked for the next 3 years.
Right. And I think you had told me Epic Preservation out of They're in Massachusetts too. I
Yeah.
follow them, and I
And
think she was
Whitens-
booked out.
Whitensville Monument, or
They don't do repairs.
they were gonna come and look, and they just never got back to me. I reached out to them 2 or 3 times. Well, he's on vacation this week, and, you know, he'll get back to you next week, and I don't think they wanted to do it anyway, but, you know. But,
No.
but it's hard to find repair companies, I guess. You know, I'm finding that out,
Right.
so.
Nope, I think you're right.
And I think it's something that's, you know, it would bother me if it was a family member, you know?
Right.
Whether it's from
Right.
1816 to, or 1999, you know, it's,
I'll make myself a note to reach out to Betty and find out if they have any availability as far as their training and their events. I know they're doing something for like Historic Cemetery Week or something for Burrowville. I saw their thing on Facebook.
Mhm.
So, but I'll reach out and find out if they have any availability, and maybe we could, you know, have them come and do an event with us and show us how to do those things. And then it's just a matter of having the supplies and having the volunteers. I mean, obviously, like larger things, you need a tripod for, like if you had to fix an obelisk, say,
Right.
or, you know, that might be separate, but we might be able to handle some of the smaller ones that are broken with just a volunteer effort if we had the proper training and the right type of epoxy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because don't you have to reset them into the ground to hold the
Yeah,
weight?
like.
So you have to
And
like
some
dig
of
them
them might
up
need
again?
some of them might need a base redone.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
You know, it might be a lot of,
technical stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you had a good body of volunteers, I mean, you might be able to accomplish something, you know, taking a few at a time. Like maybe start with the least bad, or, you know, work your way up.
And the other thing is, if some of those stones that we have in the gazebo at Center
Right.
Cemetery, you said that you researched and you found
I did figure out where a couple of them belong.
Yeah.
A couple of them were footstones, and I don't know how we feel on putting footstones back, but we do now know where they belong. They were probably removed for the purposes of mowing, because I know, like in the past, you know, it was just thought to be easier to remove them so the mower could get through, and so that's, I think, how we ended up with a lot that are in the cemetery. A lot of them I could not determine based on what I had available whose they were, but there were a couple where I was able to match it to the headstone on Find a Grave, like by the name or by
Yep.
the style. So there was a few where I can tell now where they belong. But yep,
So it would be nice to get them back to
Right.
their rightful owners,
Right.
so to speak.
yep. And I don't know if we'd want to, you know, I mean, a footstone originally was to mark the foot of the burial, and the headstone was to mark the head, so they were not a uniform distance apart. They were based on the height of the person buried.
Okay.
And I think that's when the theory of mowing became a thing, and people started removing them for ease of.
Only in this country do we mow cemeteries. In England, they don't mow any of their cemeteries.
Oh, really?
Nope.
Oh, wow. And I did see on, I can't remember what site it was. It
But
might
with
have
the
been.
sheep in there for a couple hours.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah, no, they don't mow
Yeah.
them.
Right. Wow.
Maybe-
And I
maybe
know
we
they,
could-
It's beautiful,
Maybe we
they
could
look like a
hire
meadow.
goats.
Right.
you know?
Right.
We could have a goat day.
Yeah, good. Don't need anything.
There's a lot of cemeteries do that.
Right. And it's good for the poison ivy, and we've got plenty of that.
Yes.
And yes.
Douglas Center and Pine Grove both.
Douglas Cemetery, I don't think it has any.
They had a little bit coming up the trees when we were there in August.
Oh, did they?
Couple of vines that were nice and leafy, and I was like, "Oh, nobody touched that." They had the hairy vines with the shiny leaves. I was like, "Oh boy!" So,
This is the time of year you pull
But-
it out.
yeah.
I pulled all mine out.
oh good. We should have a cemetery goat that we take around to each of the cemeteries to eat all the brush.
Well, because leaves not out yet.
Poison ivy
And I know,
nasty.
like,
And then-
historically, they, you know, I can't remember if it was Massachusetts Historic Cemeteries but it was like a guide on the length of the grass, and like you said, a lot of the places pretty much were leaving it longer. you
They
know.
should leave it longer than what it is.
Right.
In my opinion.
Right,
I think this whole concept of mowing your lawn every 2 weeks is crazy.
right, yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree.
A sterile landscape.
Right,
You've got a lot of fears going on now. So what's
Yeah,
one of the
we
latest
do.
ones is like ticks in the grass.
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Oh, of course, yeah.
Any long grass is verboten for kids
Right.
and stuff now. That's just the way parents are.
yeah, nobody wants tick bites.
Nobody
that's
runs
true.
around in the cemetery, so.
Well, not anymore. I
Right,
understand.
yeah, yep. But I mean, I guess that is a good point, there's still, you know.
But you bring the kids to visit the grave, hopefully.
Right. Or Memorial
the
Day.
ancestors,
I mean, I think
whatever,
it's
yeah.
important to have it mowed before Memorial Day because lots of people will visit and lots
Right,
of
yeah.
volunteers will be walking through. And I
People
have
like
heard of
grass
people
or
getting
whatever.
tick bites going on the Boy Scout thing. And I know there was a guy a few years ago who told me he got a tick bite
You
doing
know,
that.
I'm a Lyme
But-
disease veteran, chronic
Me
Lyme
too.
disease, yeah, so
Right.
it's no fun.
Right. Yeah.
Get chickens. I don't have any ticks in my yard.
You don't have any grass either, probably, if you've got chickens. If they're anything like mine.
Oh, I have
mine's
tons of grass.
Mine's a dirt field. Mine, they dug everything up. It's all dirt. I planted flower bulbs. They dug them up. All dirt.
Skunks will dig those up too.
Oh, yeah. Yep. All right.
Anything else?
No, I'm reading a book on green burials.
Oh, really?
Yep. No stones, no headstones, no nothing.
Not for me.
No.
No.
Why not? Well, not for you, but other people might like that.
Yes, other people might like it, but I don't even like cremations. That's just me.
Well, a lot of people don't.
Where's your plot?
In Hopedale. Already bought. My name's already on it. But no, with, minus the death date.
Minus the death date.
Yes.
In other words, you know,
My favorite is when you find the really old ones and no one ever added the death date. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's interesting. There's one like that in Pine Grove. But I did research the woman and she actually lived into her late 80s. And from what I could tell, she had moved to California. So I have a feeling they didn't bring her back here, but they may have and not put the date. So it's hard to say.
Maybe they didn't bring her back.
They might not have.
Yeah.
And if they did bring her back,
Let's
she would
find
have.
out.
If they did bring her back, she would have been the last burial in Pine Grove by her death date.
Oh, really?
But right now, the last
Wow.
burial is 1977 by what's in the cemetery on the stones. So,
Hmm.
a
yeah,
while back.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. no. The green burial's very interesting. I found it
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in that.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
right,
No headstones aren't gonna last forever.
right.
Unless we clean them properly.
Well, even then. I mean, we're the headstones from the 1300s.
Yeah. yeah.
Right?
Long gone.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I have second thoughts too about restoring them or just letting them go. You know.
Right. There are places that don't allow headstone cleaning.
Yep. There is.
You know,
a-
that feel that the way an 1800 cemetery looks
Yep.
should be
Yep.
its natural state that it got in to present day. Like I know,
Yeah.
I think is it Oak Hill? Somewhere in Rhode Island. It's a big cemetery that's got a private board of directors and they don't allow any cleaning.
Nope.
None. So
No,
if the stones
they don't
are
in
broken.
England either. They think
Right.
that everything should be the way it was in that time period.
Right, right.
A lot of them belong to churches, so the way they grew and the way they were
Right.
is the way they are.
Yep. It is one school of thought that's out there, so. And it is interesting to visit, you know, I think I visited the one in Rhode Island that has that policy, no cleaning, and,
Yeah.
you know, it's interesting to see, and, I mean, there are, you know, there are fans of the clean and fans of the way that it got
What,
naturally.
in Europe, they're
so.
starting to dig up some of the old cemeteries and reselling
Oh, yeah.
plots.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Oh, boy.
If you could leave a mixture, leave some
A lot of that, too.
alone,
Mexico too, they
yeah.
dig them up.
Right. And I think as places start to run out of room, I've noticed, you
Yep.
know, they start putting them between the older burials. It's kind of like almost infilling, like once the cemetery is almost full, you know, in certain
Well, the
cemeteries.
whole burial thing might be changing over time pretty
Right.
rapidly.
Right.
You know, we went to a funeral of my uncle in
Yeah, the whole burial
Long Island,
process,
and,
yeah.
you know, they get cremated, and they have these big, like, they're inside in a lot of places, but this one happened to be outside with the drawers, and it's
Yeah.
just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, so like
Like in
500
California.
people can be in, yeah.
California has lots of
So-
those.
Yeah.
They don't even
No,
have
there's-
cemeteries. They-
Wow.
You just go into this vault where they're all
Another
listed.
Wow.
File
With
cabinet.
It's
the
interesting.
name on it.
Yeah.
Remember the
It's
old
interesting
library
the
catalog
choices
card?
Yeah, yeah.
people have now. There was a book that I read not long ago. It was something, I can't remember what it was called, but the second part of the title was Traveling the World in Search of the Good Death or something. I'll have to look it up, and my brain doesn't remember who it was by. But I'll look it up and I can send it to you guys if you want. It was interesting because it was about like different practices for burial around the world, and the way that different cultures dealt with the concept of death and burial, and, you know, where one person, you know, does it one way, another culture does it another
Right.
way. And it was interesting. It was a very interesting read, you know, and they even did talk about some, you know, like green burial, like almost like more of a composting type of situation.
Yep, that's
and-
exactly it.
Yeah, and it was interesting to
Yep.
see like the different cultural perspectives on death, and, you know, how some
Yeah, I like that
people-
idea. I like to be buried in my own yard.
Right.
You can do that too. People think you
Right.
can't, you have to be buried in a cemetery. You don't have to be.
You just have to make sure you don't end up with a garage next to you later.
Buy your
You have to put
property,
it in your
know where you
deed.
are.
Yeah, right.
You have to put it in your deed. That's the
Yeah,
only
right,
thing you have to
exactly.
do.
Yeah,
Yep.
People have to know where you are. So they
Right,
Yep.
Start digging and
Dig
find
safe.
you.
right. Yeah, dig safe. Dig safe for people.
Dig safe.
Yeah, I always say, watch Gunsmoke. They just bury him in the ground.
Right where you fell,
With a
right?
wooden cross.
Yep.
With a wooden cross.
Yeah, all right.
But anyway,
Was that all? Does anyone have anything else they'd like to discuss?
I don't think so.
All right, do we want to pick a future meeting date, or would you like to pick that now, or? I'm usually good for Thursdays. Like I said, this is my crazy season as far as work goes. But do we want to pick one for maybe next month after the cleanup?
sure.
Okay.
Before Memorial Day, or, no, wait a minute.
Do you want to do it before, let's see, Memorial Day is, I have
it's
on
early.
Monday, the 27th this year.
Yeah.
So, do we want to have it before Memorial Day, maybe on the 23rd would be a Thursday, if that works for anyone?
It's fine with me.
Do we want to do a 10 a.m., 11 a.m.? What time is good for you guys?
No, 10 a.m. works.
10 a.m.? Okay.
May 23rd.
May 23rd, yes, 10 a.m. We'll put that in the calendar. And you guys can send me any particular items you'd want on the agenda, or we can just do, you know, the basic review of the cleanup and so on and so forth. And we'll always do whatever old business is recurring. I always just leave old business on there, so if there's any updates on anything. All right. Does anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I will second your motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we are adjourned at 11 a.m.